Today we're taking a shifter off a KX60 and we're going to see what it's like on the Grom. To get started, let's get this old shifter off. All right, so the first thing, and probably the hardest thing, we need to get this C-clip out, and it holds on the shifter. I've got the C-clip pliers, so that's gonna help me out a bunch. But if you don't have them, you're not gonna need the C-clip again, unless you're putting back a stock OEM shifter, which is ridiculous. But if you could just get it off, it's good enough. But maybe you can pry it off with a flathead screwdriver or something like that. But I'm gonna use the pliers. Once you get that off, there's gonna be a bolt holding on the shifter. Just get that off, and then the shifter should come right off. Okay, so we do not have room down here either way to get it out. There's no way we're gonna be able to pop this out. So either we cut it, which I really don't wanna do. So we're gonna take out the bolts, or not take out, but loosen these bolts on the rear set and just pop it over this way so I have enough room to get that over. I probably need a good 3/8 to a 1/2 inch. So let's get that done. Okay, so we're gonna remove this bolt all the way and go ahead and get it out of the way. And this top one, like I said, we're just gonna loosen and try to get enough until we can get that out. Now we're around on the other side. We're gonna go ahead and take off this 19 millimeter nut. On the other side, there's a 14 millimeter bolt, so just hold that as you loosen it. So it's pretty tight, but just loosen that up until you can get enough on the other side. Okay, so literally this worked perfectly. Look at how loose that is. And it's still super tight. So we might need to take off that bolt a little more, but just take it off as much. Look at that. It's moving everywhere. It's got to come out, right? No. That's got to be enough. Oh, it was still tight, but okay. So that definitely tells you got to loosen that up, but wasn't that bad. Just don't take the nut off all the way, or don't take it all off. Okay, so here are the shifters side by side. This is the new shifter. The sticker should add at least 2 horsepower, hopefully. The stock shifter, you can see while we're getting rid of it, all this linkage, it just makes it really sloppy. So hopefully this new shifter helps out a lot. This new shifter also has the bendable arm piece, I guess, where if you fall, you know, it'll hit and do that. So it's kind of a nice little feature. Also, something to keep in mind, on this shifter, my bolt is on the bottom right here. There is some of these shifters for the KX60 where the bolt is on top. You cannot get to that bolt unless you take off the sprocket cover. If you take off the sprocket cover, you can get to it, but it's way easier if you just get one that's on the bottom. Hopefully there's one for a better price than I paid. Mine was kind of expensive, but I really wanted that sticker for the extra 2 horsepower. So, all right, let's get it installed. Just slide her on, and then you throw your bolt in there. Before you do it, I can already tell, it would be smart to put it on like that, get on top of your bike, make sure that it is in the right position. Once it's in the right position, you can go ahead and take your bolt and thread that in and tighten it up. Not too tight, not too loose. Get that done. One thing to consider as well for anybody doing this upgrade or mod, if you ever fall and you got this, but that can only do so much. So what's gonna happen is the energy from the ground is just going to hit that, and then it's gonna go straight to this shaft. If that shaft breaks, you're not riding, and you're gonna have to pay to get that fixed or fix it yourself, and it's just a headache. So Hard Racing sells a reinforcement piece to reinforce it when you do this. I highly recommend doing that. I'm probably gonna end up doing that very soon, just in case, because all it takes is one time and then you're screwed. All right, so let's see how this feels. It's already in first. Feels pretty solid. Feels pretty good. Getting into neutral. Justin did have a little problem getting into neutral. I got into it right there, but he had a problem where it would throw. See, I might have been in second. He had a problem where it was in first and trying to get into neutral, it would just shove itself into second. Okay guys, so it's the next day. I hope you guys stuck around. I really want you guys to hear this. If you guys are interested in this shifter, know that it's the next day. I've rode around on it for probably 2 hours, 3 hours. I do not like the shifter. I don't like it, and I'm gonna tell you why really quick. One, it's super difficult to get into neutral. Like I was saying earlier, when you're in first and you try to pull it up into neutral or vice versa in second to first, it skips neutral and goes into that second gear. When I first got the Grom, I did have a problem with that with the stock shifter, so it might get better, but it's just really difficult because once it lets go, it throws itself into that next gear. So very, very difficult to get into neutral, but you might get used to it. Justin's getting better at it, but he's still complaining about it constantly. Second off, I wear thin shoes. I like to breathe in my shoes. I just like thin shoes. If you wear riding boots, you won't have this problem, but because you get rid of the linkage and make it stiffer, you think it's great, and it is. It's very nice to be able to feel when you go in that gear, but it's very hard on my feet personally. Shifting down is no problem, of course, but shifting up where it's on the top of your shoe, where my shoes are very thin, it's actually hurting my foot to shift a little bit. Once it gets into that gear and you slam up, it's like hitting your foot against the peg over and over. It's not very hard, but it's just enough for me to want to change. So I'm gonna go back to the stock shifter. I got used to it, I liked it. The only reason I changed is just because I thought this would be better. But from my personal use and how I personally ride and my gear and everything, I'm gonna go back to the stock shifter. But I hope you guys enjoy this. If you have any questions about any of that or any questions about installing it or anything like that, it's super simple. There's cheap ones online. You could give it a shot. If you don't like it, you can just go back to the stock like I did. But I just want you guys to know what I thought about it. And Justin's keeping his, so that just tells you, there's some people that like it, some people that don't. So, but anyways, guys, if you like this video, please leave a like or subscribe. That would be great. And I guess we'll see you next time. And check us out on Instagram too. That would help out a lot. Trying to post a lot more on Instagram. But, all right, guys, take it easy.